I have,
Yeah, carry on, Yogesh.
yes. So I have 11 years old kids, I think twins.
Mm-hmm.
We are really looking at the alternate education. So I really don't know what is out there. There are different options, homeschooling, so many things out there. So this is basically, I got to know through one of our family member that such webinar is happening.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I felt that I just want to understand what you have to share. Thank you.
Are your children also there with you?
No, it's
No, they're
just me
not
and
there.
my wife.
Okay, okay. Sure, sure. No issues. Yep, anybody else would like to share similarly? Especially if there are children here, they would like to share. Even parents, just go ahead and share. Yep, anybody else? Uh, okay, so we are live on Facebook. So welcome, good evening, everybody. And Shreya is also there. Cool. So what we will do is, let me get the sharing right first. Okay, so what we will do is I will quickly give you, when I say quickly, I will take about 10 minutes, 10 or 15 minutes, I would say. In 10, 15 minutes, I will little share about the whole, you can say, concept journey of open learning uh, as a quick introduction. And then I have Shreya with me today. So I will invite her and she can share a little about how she is doing open learning. Uh, so Shreya is 16 years old. And so if you have your children around you, call them, especially when Shreya comes and they can listen to her and interact with her. Uh, so this is very informal. She's just sharing what she's doing, and then you can have lots of questions. You can target your questions to me or to Shreya, and we can together see how we can, uh, help you understand this open learning better. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, let's start. Uh, right. So when we started uh, our journey of, when I say we, me and my wife started our journey of working with children, one of the core thoughts that was there in our mind was, hey, what is this whole thing about purpose of education? So that's something that kind of uh, was the question in front of us, right? Why to get this so-called education? And somewhere we felt that the whole emphasis seems to be on getting a job, preparing the students for a career, settling in life, and so on and so forth. But we kind of did not resonate with that thinking because we realized we never really settle in life. We do lots of different things, explore lots of different things. We keep on doing, moving. Basically, we are living all the time from the day we are born till the end. So we would rather live as the whole life as an education rather than looking at some years education to become something. Yeah. And if that is the case, then one would like to look at life as education and not education for life or living, but but life itself is education. Then the obvious thought comes is, hey, why should the child not be leading his or her life? In that sense, why shouldn't the child be leading herself? Why shouldn't the child be leading her learning and education? Yeah. So that's the first thought, and or rather, that's the core thought. At the moment we start looking at childhood education, children learning life in terms of uh, you know um, uh, uh, basically the child leading herself, then what happens is some very interesting thoughts come. So I'll share with you a few of those, uh, and let's see how that kind of forms a little basis for the whole open learning. The first thought that comes is, hey, do we really need to bind the child to a curriculum, and can we not just leave it for the child to decide it? That's very interesting, because when the child starts deciding, then what really happens is what we will listen to Shreya in just about 5 minutes. So give me 5 more minutes. And then Shreya can give you an example of how, when the child is thinking about, and can the child think, and what happens when the child thinks rather than we deciding, or a school deciding, or somebody else deciding. So that was the first proposition. The second thought that comes to mind, hey, we don't really need to teach the child, because the child is the leader. The child can figure out how the child wants to learn, whatever the child wants to learn. The child can look for a teacher, in which case, yes, we can help the child get a teacher. But primarily, the idea is that, yes, let the child figure out which way the child wants to learn. Yeah. The third proposition is that if the child is deciding what to learn, child is deciding how to learn, then why do we even need to assess the child? Cannot the child decide based on her own reflection, her own thinking, her own assessment? In any case, I'm sure none of us like to be assessed, right? So that's the why even get assessed. Rather, why can't I just continuous work on continuous loop of feedback and working on it and so on, that kind of a loop. And finally, is it so important that we need to have a degree or a college? Can we not let the child again decide? uh, when I say child, yeah, the child, with the help of parents and all that, decide whether they want to give or they don't want to give. And there are so many options in today's world. There are courses, there is apprenticeship or internships, there is self-learning, there is degrees, and so on. In fact, just yesterday we were in a small discussion where somebody was sharing that there are about 25, I think something like 25 lakh engineering students in our country, and out of that, about 5 to 6 lakhs get jobs, and the rest we don't know, right? And the thought that came to us was that, how do we solve this issue? Considering it's an issue, we said one way could be that the company should just say, okay, we don't need degrees, we need people who can do the work, which is what is happening in the industry. Slowly industry is more giving importance to who can show or prove that they can do this work, rather than just degrees, because degrees by themselves don't necessarily make us good at a particular job. So all of this, obviously, uh, when it happens, uh, when the child is leading, and when it happens in a setting where there are others also doing it, then it becomes even more interesting. So we are not just talking about open learning, we also adding a dimension of being in a community where we are together. Yeah. And so one aspect is, I am the leader, and I'm not just the leader, I am together with a larger group of people who are doing it together. So that is what Arohi is. In some ways, Arohi is a community of people who are doing open learning. Yeah. And but what we need to first understand is, hey, this open learning itself can be so uh, uh, you can say interesting and rewarding and engaging. And on top of that, if we can build a community which of different families who are doing it, then together it becomes not just that we can support each other, but we can also enjoy the journey more. Yeah. So that's a quick introduction about open learning and about Arohi. Um, what I would like to do now is move over to give you a glimpse into how this whole thing works. Some of you are already doing it. Some of you are thinking about it. Some of you are, maybe first time exploring this. So I thought it would be a good idea or rather, we thought that to let some of our children talk about their journey. So here is Shreya for you. Um, Shreya, the photographs that we had put, there is some problem with those photographs. So we'll have to live without photographs. So do you want to use the slides or do you just want to talk on the camera? How do you prefer?
Either way is fine.
Either ways is fine. Okay, okay, fair enough. So let's still use the slides. I have just put this one of your older pictures. I'm sure you're laughing. You didn't even know I put this picture. So maybe you can start with one or two line of how you moved away from the conventional schooling, which everybody can see one at one time you were going, uh, and then you can talk about the other points that you told me that you wanted to share. Go ahead.
Yeah, so basically, I went to school till seventh grade, and I was a normal student there. I was actually pretty okay with school. I wasn't like I hated it, wasn't like I hated school or something. But then there was this thought that is it really useful for me, or am I really getting the benefit of school? Because I wasn't a huge fan of all the subjects I learned there, because it made no sense to me to like learn history while my interests were based on dance, singing, and playing, and all. So that was the main thing that made us switch to homeschooling. And my parents did a few research for some time, and then they came across this idea of homeschooling, and then we were all really excited about it, because you don't have to go to school, you don't have to waste time, you don't have to write homework, no tests, no exams, nothing, just happily at home doing whatever you like. So that made us do homeschooling instead of going to conventional school. Yeah, so the next is about my passion, and how do I do it on a daily basis? How do I go about my passion? So my passion, there are a few, but then the main thing would be singing, dancing, and then playing veena, violin. And I've just started learning violin. And then I like drawing, I like gardening, and so on. But these are like the main interests. So because I had all these interests, uh, I practice every day, and then I learn by going to classes. I learn from different people, and then yeah, that's basically how I learn. And I actually practice every day to like have this passion going on, to like keep improving. So yeah.
So how do you plan your practice?
Hmm. So
Do you?
if suppose there's a new thing I'm learning, for
Mhm.
say in Veena, I'm learning a new song or a new raga, I make a schedule for myself. So I practice this much times, and then I'll record it, and then I'll send to my teacher. And then if there's some mistakes or something like that, she'll send it to me, and then she'll give feedback, and then I'll work on it more. And then typically I practice Veena for almost 1.5 to 2 hours a day, and then singing for about an hour or 1.5 hours. It depends on how much I have to practice, or how much I have to improve. Yeah.
Okay. Shall I move to the
Huh?
Okay. No, carry on, carry on. We'll finish. So everybody, if you have questions, we'll let Shreya finish one round of sharing, and then you can ask her questions. Yeah, Shreya, continue.
So, how do I know if I'm growing? So, that was a question which I had a long time back. And then, what I did was I would write down what and all I practiced and how much I improved. So, I would record whatever I sang or whatever I played. I would record that, and then I would listen to it again. So, for example, I'm practicing a song today, and then I would record the song, and then later, then I would play the same song tomorrow after practicing. So I would know that I've improved this much, and this is the place where I've grown. And then if I reflect on it, I can know where I'm improving or where I'm not improving, so I can work more on it. So that's how I started knowing that I'm growing.
So, if I'm understanding it correctly, your that day's reflection or analysis, you plug in into or rather today's reflection, you plug in into next day's practice. Is that how you work it?
Yeah,
Okay, okay.
yeah.
Mm. Oh, you already had a slide call. How do I practice? Okay, great. Yeah, go ahead.
So as I already said, I practiced for a couple of hours every day. So I don't actually follow a particular, and I don't keep it time wise, but I should do. I reflect on what I've done, and that's how it goes. And typically I have classes almost every day. I have dance class, I have Veena class on weekends, and then I practice. Can you go to the next slide?
Yeah.
So the last thing is about what I've planned for my future or what I'm willing to do. So growing my skills, and then I'm also looking for colleges where I can mentor me and then help me improve my skills so that later I can also teach and also give small concerts somewhere. Plan my future as of now, but it might actually change.
Yeah, so you can hear me, Shreya? So
Yeah.
I want you to talk about this a little more. So when you think about future, whether you're looking for places to learn, what are you looking for in those places? Whether it's when you
So
say it's a college, what kind of a college are you looking at? Most people want a degree from a college, but what are you looking for? Because that's very interesting. When I've been interacting with you over the last few months about this future thing, uh, so I want you to share it with everybody because at least I find it very interesting.
yeah, so I was actually looking for so for now, I practice on my own and I learn by myself. But I felt I was lagged. I didn't have much exposure to other people. I learn from my teacher, I practice, and then I go back to my teacher, and then I can learn from her. I go back to her. So I felt that there was very less exposure. So if there was a group of people doing the same thing, or a, a teacher or someone who's like very experienced or something, I can have more exposure to it, and by that way, I'll even learn more, and then I can get more experiences through that because there'll be a lot of people to teach me, and not just one teacher. I can learn from a lot of people. They can give me feedback and all. So that was why I had this idea of going to a college and then learning from there. So
And
yeah.
and what kind of colleges have you been looking for?
So I looked for three colleges, two in Madras and one in Tanjore. The one in Tanjore is so basically it's a music college where you can have you can take either Veena or violin and then have one as a main subject and another as an ancillary one. There you didn't have to actually learn other subjects except for one language. And then there were actually other people who were learning other instruments. So I felt that was nice. And the other two colleges, one is the music college in Chennai, which is pretty similar to this, and then the other is Kalakshetra. where it's actually mainly focused on dance, but then they also provide courses on violin, veena, and singing. So all these three places have a similar atmosphere of like people doing, people continuing the passion of music, singing, dancing, instruments, or something like that. So I felt all these three will help me. Any three of them, any one of them will help me grow more on my passion, that is Veena, violin.
Okay, so I just want to highlight that this is very interesting, at least for me, that you are first of all looking for a, even when you're looking for a college, your objective is not some degree or something, but you're looking for the group that you will get, not just the group of students, but the group of teachers, and even in students, maybe people practicing different instruments. So you will get that kind of an exposure where you are exposed to different instrument, different people learning different thing, and that kind of an environment which will help you to develop your or whichever is your interest area more. That's very interesting. uh, and in fact, I wasn't even aware personally that there are colleges which are so dedicated even to a particular music, that they're not even talking about other subjects, and this is at the at the 10th level, as in after 10th you can get into these colleges.
Mm.
And maybe for all you know, they may allow you to get in without even giving 10th. We will see that right now I think these colleges are not yet, because of COVID, they're not yet functioning. So it will start functioning, and that's where you are right now in your journey, right? Okay, so that's uh,
Yep.
anything else you want to add, that you have just started trying getting in touch with different people? So what are you thinking about other ways of how you can connect with different experts and different people who can mentor you?
Yeah, so basically, that is Ramesh, helped me write a profile of myself so that I wrote a profile for myself that saying I have these interests and I would like a person to mentor me on playing Veena or give me feedback or help me connect with another person. And then we decided we circulate it around people so that they can share it to other people so that any one of them can mentor me or help me grow more. So that's one way we worked on it. And then generally, if any resource person, will talk to them, and then um, they can help me grow. Yeah.
Right. So you can even go ahead and ask this group if anybody knows anybody who's an expert in Veena, they can connect you with them. There are about 30 people here, so you can ask them if you want to. Are you able to hear me?
Yeah, I'm able to hear you, but I think my connection is unstable.
Oh, okay. Okay. Uh, I was just saying, if you want, you can ask this group. There are about 30 people here. You can ask them if anybody knows, and they can connect you with anybody who's an expert in Veena. Why not ask everywhere?
Yeah, if anyone here knows about Veena or anyone knows another person who knows about Veena or something, please connect them with me or any other violin or singing or anything. It's fine.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so I think, Shreya, we can ask if people have any questions. I see one. So there are some general questions which I will answer in a little while. But let's first see if you have questions specific to Shreya. Shreya is 16 years. So you can ask her. And she has been homeschooling since almost 4 years, 5 years, right?
Yes.
Homeschooling or open learning or whatever,
Yep.
for 4 5 years. So you can ask her specific questions. Um, one question is there that Uma has asked: is there any curriculum that you have to follow to clear boards? I don't know if that's asking Shreya or asking me. Uh, but yeah, Shreya, if you want to reply to that, you can also reply. I will also reply from my side. And
Yeah, so there's this NIOS board. I don't, will you say something?
no, carry on.
Yeah, so there's this NIOS board where you can write your 10th and 12th privately, and it's pretty valid. The certificate they give is pretty valid. You can even apply for NEET if you want to. So if you want to homeschool and still write 10th, that's also good. And there you also have the option of choosing the subjects, which is pretty cool. So you get to learn a variety of
Yeah,
subjects.
yeah. So Uma is also asking which all subjects did you take up?
So when I was writing, I took up painting, English, home science, um, psychology, and social science.
But what I want to mention to everybody is that I really like the way Shreya is in that sense flexible. She isn't stuck in this way or that way. She's more seeing what I need for what is my interest. If I need to give an exam, I'll give exam. If I don't need to give an exam, that's also okay. If I need to practice so many hours, that's also okay. Finally, it's all about the way I have understood watching Shreya and many other children, uh, is that they are deciding and they are open to anything they need to do for whatever is their interest. So, what is that? How have I understood it correctly, Shreya? What do you think?
Yeah, yeah.
Which is why I like saying that these children are really true leaders. That their life is in their hands, and they are deciding, um, and they are thinking where. Yeah. So Uma is asking, did you need help for all these subjects? Shreya, you want to answer that? She's also asking, do you have a mentor? Do you need help for these subjects? So how did you go about preparing for these?
Mm. Uh, So personally, I felt I can read by myself, so I understood the concepts pretty well. So I started learning by myself, and then I used to actually write a gist of whatever I learned and post it on Slack. Slack is an online thing where where our ROE community shares everything, whatever they're doing. So they used to give me feedbacks, and then we used to share a lot about it, and I was pretty comfortable learning by myself.
Okay, somebody's name V is
Can you hear me?
asking these subjects equal in academic rigor to other boards. Uh, yeah, you want to answer that? If you have any idea is about this, is uh, uh, when you say the person whose name is V, can you please share rename yourself as your full name, please, or you can type your name in the chat.
Um,
Are you able to see that question, Shreya? Is asking were these subjects equal to the academic rigor of the boards like CBSC, ICSC? Would you know how much is the academic rigor because you have not been to CBSC, ICSC, at least for the 10th?
can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah. Okay, it
Hello.
is Rekha who is asking that question.
What was the question? I got lost in
Okay,
between.
sorry. Yeah, I'll repeat the question. Rekha is asking, were these subjects, I think she's meaning the subjects that
Yeah.
you took as NIOS subjects, equal to the academic rigor of boards like CBSC, ICSC? If you're not getting the question, that's okay, because you
Were
haven't
these equal enough?
equivalent in academic rigor to boards like CB, because I don't think you have experienced ICSC, CBSC.
Oh,
Okay, so the way I would look, so okay, let me answer this
yeah.
question for Shreya because
But I was studying in a CBSE school.
right, but as it, okay,
Yeah.
great. So then you can tell whether it was academically as rigorous, as tough, as challenging, or these are subjects you've taken for a totally different purpose. See, okay, let me answer this question. Let me help you out.
So,
So, yeah, go ahead.
the subjects I took mostly were. Yeah, you can answer.
No. You go ahead. I will hear you out
That's the
first.
second you can answer.
I think your voice is
Oh,
also a
okay.
little breaking. Okay, what I want to
Yeah.
tell
So
everybody
I think
is,
they were more.
yeah, sorry. Go ahead, Shreya. Oh, we are also losing your, yeah, go ahead, I'll wait. Okay, I think her video is getting stuck, at least for me. Um, Right. So, okay, the perspective you have to keep in mind when you ask this, that as they were as rigorous as CBSE, ICSE, is that for Shreya, these subjects in this 10th is only a requirement because the college that she is applying to requires that 10th to be. It's not that she has to put rigor in this. So she has possibly chosen the subjects which she likes and which whether they are whether they demand academic rigor or not is not important for her, because her rigor is in Veena, her rigor is in violin, her rigor is in her dance, and so on. So it is not that I have to give every exam and every exam should be academically rigorous. So that's the way I think open learners see where they want to put their energies, rather than uh, just thinking something should be rigorous only, then I will do it, or whether one thing is better than the other. So it's more a question of what one is really interested in. Shreya, Devi has a question for you. Can you see Devi's question? Devi is in fact friend of Shreya. um, uh, Devi is asking, how would you define achievement? What is it for you, and how do you go about uh, practice, professional? Are you saying practice achievement, professional achievement? I think that's what she's asking.
Oh, so for me, achievement is something when I feel satisfied about myself and what I've done. So I think that's what is an achievement for me. So I didn't understand the second question.
Even actually, I haven't. I'm assuming she's talking about professional achievement, practice achievement. Uh, I think that's what she's possibly trying to say.
Uh,
Or she's possibly trying to say is
yeah,
how do you
I think
practice?
practice achievement.
Or maybe Devi, you will need to clarify.
Oh, how do I practice?
No, that you have already talked about.
Yeah,
Okay, she's saying, how do you go about achieving your goal? If the deep practice isn't pleasing, is the practice pleasing for you? Is the rigor pleasing for you? Is it enjoyable for you?
yeah, it is enjoyable. It's sometimes it's also hard.
Yeah, demanding.
So yeah, demanding. You'll have to work hard for it. So how do you go about achieving your goal? So I think I just have to keep motivating myself to keep practicing so that one day I'll become the person I have to be, I want to be.
Okay. Okay, cool. Um, okay, Sham is asking, do you feel like missing friends at school? How do you fulfill the void of being with peers, and sharing all those? Won't it be a missing? Basically talking about friends and peers.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, so
yeah, maybe Shreya, you switch
mhm.
off your
So
video.
for me right now I have pretty good amount of friends because when I came to Arohi there were a lot of people who interacted with me. Oh, okay. One second.
Yeah, let's try now if the audio.
Am I better? Am I clear?
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I think having friends and peers, going to Arohi, um, gave me a lot of exposure to friends, and everyone there used to chat with me. So I didn't actually have the void of not having friends, or I didn't feel lonely. There were a pretty good amount of people who were my age, and then we were really good friends with each other, and we're still good friends. Everyone there talks to each other, so that's where I think the community comes in place.
Hmm. And Devi is one of Shreya's friend, in fact, similar age, and Devi is also into music. And Devi is asking Shreya one more question. Devi is asking if you can read it in the chat window.
Huh.
She's asking what is more important, process and end results, and how do you work for it?
Nice question. I think both are equally important because if you have the end result without the process, that's just um, not pleasing. Or if you have the process equally important, and how do I work for the end result? I keep practicing and then I keep growing.
Okay. Yeah, Uma is asking. Yeah, Uma, Shreya was part of Arohi from previous years. So, yeah, she was very much part of campus and obviously not part of campus since now the campus is closed for the past 8 months. But she's obviously part of the online platform right now. So, both to answer your question. Okay, Devi has a lot of questions for you. Um, So Devi is asking, is it fine if you don't meet your end results if you're enjoying the process?
Uh, Maybe I'll want an end result because I'm also enjoying the process, but I'm working for something. So I think I'll need some proof that I've achieved my goal. And then after that, I'll keep practicing, I'll keep improving, and then
Okay, I think at least I am losing your voice. I don't know. Are others able to hear Shreya? I'm losing your voice. So Devi, yeah, we can go deeper into her practice and all that. And since anyway you are her friend, Devi is also part uh, uh, of Arohi, and so we can discuss this more detail. Right now, our purpose is not so much get into that, but just to understand that how uh, my life can be in my hand. That is something that we want to share with everybody. How I can, literally decide and if I want to put that slide back. Yeah, how I can decide as a child, and I can do and I can reflect, and this little cycle can work for me as we go along. So that's kind of broadly we thought that, because that's kind of the basis of doing open learning or unschooling or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, so let's come back to that little theme. Okay. uh, I also want to just get a confirmation. Are you all able to hear me? Is my voice clear? Because I'm just scrolling back into chat. There were a number of questions. Um, just confirm to me in the chat if you're all able to hear me. Okay. Okay, Vasundhara is asking, she's not yet received textbooks. She's also applied for NIOS and studying online. Is that normal? No, we do not. So Arohi is a community. It's not a study center or it's not a preparatory center. If you need subject-specific help, I would rather recommend that you look for, specific tutors for that particular subject, if that is what your question is. And you can get tutors both online and offline, so depending on what choice you have, keeping in mind the safety part. But otherwise, yes, I mean, why isn't it normal? You can study just by yourself or with your friends, even on a Zoom call, like how we are doing it right now. So you will have to figure out how you want to do it. I'm sure there could be other people whom you can connect with. Um, but we are not a study center, but children who are part of Arohi, if they need help in anything, not just subjects, I could need help with football, I could need help with crochet, I could need help with cooking. So as a child or even as an adult, I could need support, and that is where the community comes in to provide support to each other. Yeah. Okay. I'm just scrolling back in the chat. There was some questions before. Let me see what were the questions. Um, so one question from Sham was, my son wants to play. No studies. He will become lazy. Okay. So Sham, your concern is valid. Yeah, maybe the child would become lazy. Maybe the child would not. In fact, yeah, let me do that. If I can invite all of you, now, let me stop the presentation and rather invite all of you to um, kind of share, open up your webcams and, if possible, mic, and we can all um, be here. Yeah. So what I was saying was that concern is valid, but what happens is typically children are by nature not really lazy. They are by nature wanting to do different things. At least that's what we have seen. All children want to do a lot of different things. And this whole journey of trying to do different things and doing different things is more to realize in their life what is it that they really like doing. So I would say give that space to the child. Why the Because the child is interested in playing and no studies does not mean that the child is lazy. It just means that the child does not like the subject as they are being given by the school. What it means that is that maybe his interest lies elsewhere, like maybe like Shreya, who likes more of, let's say, music. Or in fact, in music, we say, I'm playing Veena, right? So in that sense, Shreya is whole day playing. But that playing is different, but it's still a playing in the sense it is the essence of playing is the joy of doing something. I think playing, we have unnecessarily made it low, that playing outside or playing a game is low in hierarchy as compared to, let's say, studying a subject. But actually that's I would like to question that and say, hello, everything is a doing which requires cognition, which requires social skills, which requires thinking, planning, reflecting. Even in a game, I need to do all of this. I need to decide how am I going to play, then see, oh, I'm losing, change my strategy, try something else. So it's all very interesting. And if you see, that's what life is all about. It's all about you are playing in your work, in your business, in your at any age, at your home, if you are a homemaker. All of us are in that sense playing. uh, that's the way we look at it. So open learning is about that invitation, that come play your life the way you want it, and you will soon discover, or at least go searching for your interests. So I'm tying this with also Preeti Sangvi has asked that what if the child does not have any passion? Well, it's not that children have to have one passion. In fact, Shreya herself is the best example. As and when whichever passion is attracting her, she's putting her energy into it. She started off with Bharatnatyam, music, now it's into Veena, now latest is violin, in between drawing. So it doesn't need to have been one passion and or one interest. And the idea is to keep going into it with full joy, and then see how my life evolves. Yeah, I think that to me is what Shreya epitomizes, and that is what open learning is all about. It's not about trying to find one passion, but it's about trying to live with whatever is of your core interest right now and take that forward in one life, in one's life. Yeah,
Ratish, I want to add something.
please, please.
Um, so one of the thing which I want to bring it is that normally have to go through only the path of 10th, 12th, college. Mm-hmm. Sure. Yeah.
Sorry, I think we are losing Aditi's voice, so I'm just inviting her to join me here. Um, and we can hear her point. Yeah, you can share. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So, something which I wanted. Hi, Shreya. So, something what I wanted to bring it is that it's normally taken that okay, this is the path. If I have to, when we think of future, when we think of career, we think of 10th, 12th, the degree, and then say job, or maybe something worth which is in our hand. But in Shreya case, right from the beginning, she has been asking this question. So for my Veena, what do I need to do? For my dance, what do I need to do? For my music, what do I need to do? And then in path, she has closed the option of 10th. Neither she has closed the option of, say, going ahead with, say, with one guru or many guru, or creating a group of people, or finding a guru for herself, or whichever way. So that process, we have been working with her for last now almost few months, where we are just exploring, okay, what is that I can do to take my current passion forward. And that's what she has been just growing with. So the point which I wanted to bring is that they often we limit our children with this one path. There are no choices which are explored, that okay, yeah, there are many more ways of reaching out to what I want, and whatever I want at this moment. As I think Ratnesh has been repeating, and she has also been saying that for my current passion is Veena, my current passion is this, and then I'm trying to work it out. It can change, it can grow, it can move ahead the same way. Yeah, I think that's what I wanted to bring this point, that
Sure.
it's not about one path, but I think it's about many paths which we can look into.
Yeah, we also had a question from Sai. He's saying his son is fourth standard, which I guess would be around 9 years. And he likes more about cars. He likes maths and English, but he doesn't want to learn languages. So, Sai, that's exactly the point. The point is that can we invite him to now decide what he wants to do? Forget learning also, what he wants to do in a day, in a week, in a month, in a year, where how deep he wants to go into cars or how deep he wants to go into whichever area he is interested in. And these interests will change, these passions will change and evolve, and that is the discovery that the child will have to explore oneself. Yeah. So that's the whole idea. um, Okay. Also, Preeti is saying, my sons are 6 years old. Can they? Yeah, there are a couple of people asking, yeah, can the child be part of Arohi online? Yes, we are a community. Right now, we are all connected online because we can't come physically together. As in, when campus opens, if some of you want to come to campus, you're most welcome. But as of now, yes, we are all connected families, 40, 50 families, all interacting, supporting, doing things together, creating space for each other. So right now the community is very alive and active with lots of different things happening, with parents, children, all participating together, not as parents and children, but as one community, as one group of people. Uh, so that's what it is. Yes, you can very much be part of the Arohi from your home, whether you have a 6-year-old, 4-year-old, 14-year-old, 40-year-old, right? So yes, you can be part of that. Preeti Sangvi is asking, I'm a counselor. Can Arohi help me? So I'm not very sure what help you are looking for, Preeti. You will have to, maybe if you come on mic, I can little help you. Also inviting more people if you have specific questions, either for Shreya or for me, or for about Arohi or about open learning. Here I'm using open learning as a synonym to homeschooling, open schooling, free schooling, home education, whatever name you want to give it. The name doesn't matter, they're all the same. Sham is asking, rather, is it good to shift one's passion? I'll say, why not? We can, uh, yeah, Shreya, is it good to switch one's passion?
Yeah, obviously, because it'll keep changing. You get to learn a lot of stuff. So it's nice to keep changing.
Yeah, Sham. So there, different people are different. Some people are they are passionate about one thing throughout their life, but there are some people, maybe like us, maybe like me, or maybe like Shreya, who like changing. This interest, then some other interest comes, and then some other interest comes. And I'm not just talking about the first 10, 20 years of life, talking about the whole life we keep changing. So I think it's just each one of us is different. There is no good or bad. It depends on each individual. And yeah, uh, everything is fine till it suits the individual. That's the way I would look at it. Yeah. Yeah, Uma, you are from Dubai. We do already have parents from Dubai in our community. So, yeah. Uh, Sham is saying, is it not escaping? I would say maybe it is escaping. And again, there's nothing wrong or right about it. If something is tough and I want to move away from it, that's also okay. Not that the other field would be any easier. Nothing is easy in this world, I would say. Everything is tough. The point is not that whether something is tough or easy, but the point is what gives me joy, what adds value to my life, and where I can add value to my life and others around me. So I would not really bother if somebody is leaving something just because something is tough. I would say, fair enough. This isn't resonating with you. You are not liking this toughness. Maybe you would like some other toughness. Who knows? Uh, so in that sense, I would say, yeah, it looks like that, okay, everybody should be, the tough guy who can take on everything, but I guess it's okay. And that's the beauty of open learning, where we are ready to accept each individual's journey as very unique. Like Shreya's journey is very different, and let's say Devi's journey is very different, and each child's journey is very different. Yeah, so I guess it's that acceptance. And I would say, I forget that these children, even at this age, I would like this acceptance by people around me. If I keep shifting when and where, some days I'm interested in something, some days I'm interested in something. So I would also like that acceptance from the world for being able to change things in my life. Okay. More questions, you can come on mic, or you can ask on chat. You can ask Shreya questions. You can ask me. Shreya's still there. And yeah, we can take any more questions, especially if there are children here who have joined. Then you can chit chat with Shreya. You can talk to her, ask her, like how Devi was asking a lot of questions, a lot of interesting questions, I would say. Let me also state here that uh, if you are interested in being part of the community or wanting to know about more about community, or even if just wanting to know more about open learning and unschooling, homeschooling, feel free to connect with us. We can spend little one-to-one time with your family and see if what questions you have, and we can try and answer that. So if you're interested to take these conversations forward, you don't have to join Arohi. That's not what I'm trying to say. Any which way you would like to interact with us or know about us, you're most welcome um, uh, to connect with us. I'm also just typing the WhatsApp number if you want to WhatsApp. So you can WhatsApp Aditi, mm, or you can call me on my number. Let me also type my email address if that is what could help you to connect with us. Yeah. Um, I also want to mention that so right now we are as a community, we are we are using technology to connect with each other, um, as and when we are slowly opening. So maybe hopefully by, let's say, February, we might be able to open um, the campus for people to come. Typically families first come and stay here for a week, and they experience it, and then if they like it, they take it forward. So if that is something that you are looking at, talk to us now, and then be at least connected with us, and as and when we are able to open the campus and invite you to come and stay, we will inform you, and that time you can plan whenever you feel like coming. It's a community, so there isn't a date or an age or a time to come. Right now we are only constrained by the COVID situation. Otherwise, it's all very open. So yeah, so that I just wanted to share that information. So if you have any questions with respect to Arohi working or the community working, you can ask me now, or you can ask one-to-one.
Hi, Uma here.
Yes, Uma.
Yeah, can I ask Shreya, does she feel, matlab, uh, can she concentrate always, or does she go haywire? How is it? How does she manage her daily schedule? Is it always, is it, is she able to do it? Because in school, it's always, there is a period, there is a class, so things get going. So with her passion, can she cover up her NOS portions and everything? How is she managing? How did she manage?
Yeah, so I think what drives me to keep be focused is that I really like what I'm doing. So obviously, I like to spend more time on it. So that's how I keep concentrating. But there are times when I feel like I don't want to do it today. I'll do it or I don't feel like doing it. So that time I take a break, do something else which I like. So if I'm bored with playing Nina, I go sing, or I go play outside. Or I'll do something else, and then later on when I'm focused, I'll come again and practice. So yeah. So the main thing is that I like doing it. So
That's cool. That's great.
Yeah, I think that in a generic sense is true for all children and all of us, rather. Whatever we like
Yeah.
doing, we are always ready to put more time and more energy then so-called disciplining and so-called rigor comes more naturally to us at all
True.
ages. A
True.
child who
True. Yeah,
wants to
that's true.
a child who wants to learn how to walk will keep on trying that. When I wanted to learn how to cycle, I'll keep on attempting it, even though obviously we will fall and hurt ourselves. So I think that's how we are designed as human beings, which is why when in open learning, when we pursue what we really like doing, uh, the factor of motivation takes a back seat, and what really comes forward is my joy of doing something.
I know. That is so true. So true. My daughter grade 8, in mid 8th, we started knowing started it up. So we are trying to understand more about it. How will be the internal exam process, or what is it going to be? She's keen is doing it, and she has taken up English, home science, and business management. So we are exploring what are the ways that the internal exam period, when how will she go about it, and all these are the
So,
questions
yeah,
that are,
for me, your voice was little breaking, Uma, maybe because of my internet connection.
okay.
But I want to ask you one question. Why is
Yeah,
she giving this examination?
which one?
Whichever she's giving, you're talking about
Whichever
some.
she will be, she has to give the NIOS because she has to get a clear her 10th or
Why does
12th.
she need to give clear her 10th?
Oh, that's a question, because the boards is needed, I feel.
Why?
I
For
think
what
that
purpose is
she
the
will
board
need a
needed?
certificate, na?
For
The
what purpose is
certificate.
that certificate needed?
She wants to go ahead with her art education. So
Okay.
colleges, for
Well, art
colleges, if she,
education, yes, you can go to a college for art education, but you can get art education without going to a college also. There can be so many people whom you can work with. There can be so many courses
Mhm.
you can do without necessarily giving the 10th examination or the 12th or the college. I'm not saying you shouldn't. I'm just
Yeah.
saying, I'm just trying to tell you that there are options. Many. In fact, if you go to an art college, that is one way of doing it. But
Mhm.
there's so many people doing art who have never gone to a college. Does it
Mhm.
mean that only in a college can I learn art? Can I not
No.
learn it in other many different ways?
Mhm.
The
Yeah.
reason I'm saying is
Mhm.
because see, finally, when you give these examinations, what they
Mhm.
do is they take away a lot of time. Now, the
Mhm.
question that you need to think about is, do I want to spend time in giving these examinations, or do I want to spend the same time doing what I like doing, which is art? I would
Mhm.
rather make 200 more paintings if
Mhm.
I'm into, let's say, painting, then
Mhm.
do an examination called 10th, which will only make me go to another examination called 12th, which will make me go to another examination called BA first year, and so on.
Mhm.
So, do I want to? So that's nothing wrong with that. But that's one system where once this we say once you are on a highway, you keep paying the toll. So it's like a toll
Mhm.
ticket. You buy this ticket, then you have to buy the next toll ticket, then you have to buy the next toll ticket. That's one way. Nothing wrong with that. The other is to explore other roads. There are many ways to reach where we want to reach. So that's just my question. I'm
I
only
know.
posing the question for you all to think, because what is happening is most people are by thinking that 10th, 12th college so is by default. There is no choice there. There is no option there. That has to be done, kind of thing. All I'm saying is wait, those are optional. Those are choices. Those are depending on what you want to do and how you want to do in your life. There's so many ways of doing it, right? I'm neither trying to say that they are wrong or right, the colleges. They're just one option. I'm just showing more options. I'm sure.
And yeah, uh, you would. Sorry, I'm just looking up the chat to see if there are any other questions. Hmm.
Sorry, I got logged out. Connection
There he is.
not so
Okay.
good. Yeah. So I don't know. I was rambling about 10th and degrees being options. I
Okay,
don't know
back.
when the connection got lost. So just inviting you to explore, not saying one should not give anything or do anything. I'm not trying to recommend any path. I'm just trying to show the more options are there. Uh, Hi, Dwiji. You were sharing something. Did I cut you short or
No,
something?
no, I was just looking through the chat to see if there are any other questions because I thought what you had said was finished enough that I didn't want to add anything further.
Okay,
So,
Lakshmi is
yeah.
asking what would be the minimum age to register for NIS 10th. I think it is 14 years. That's my whatever last information. But please check from the NIS website. All this information is fairly easily available, and it's there on their website, and they will have the latest information just in case there are any changes. Right. So it's little more than 6 o'clock. So Shreya, if you want to sign out, you can sign out. I will stay here for some more time if any people have more questions about either open learning, unschooling, homeschooling, or about Arohi. So yeah, so thank you very much, Shreya, for joining in and sharing your journey. It's always very exciting to listen to you guys. So yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, we'll catch up.
Thank you, Shreya.
Yeah. Meanwhile, if you want to stay back, Shreya, you can stay back. I don't know how many questions people have, so I'll just hang around to see if I need to answer a few more questions. Because that's my promise that I'll hang around till your questions are answered. So you can ask me more questions, though my answers need not be very straight. Yeah, anybody else, if you have a question? Okay, Uma is saying, how does Arohi function? Can we know more about the community? Okay, so I'll make the answer simpler rather than trying to tell you how it functions, because that's something which is more interesting to experience rather than talking about it. But if we look at any group of people, how will they function? If you look at it from that aspect, that is exactly how Arohi will function. So imagine that you put a group of 20, 30, 40 people in one in let's say one space, and then invariably the first thing that will happen is that they will start connecting with each other. So that's exactly how it happens in Arohi. We use an online platform to connect with each other, who likes what, who is doing what, who is cooking, who is playing basketball, who is stitching, who is doing physics, who is playing chess, and so on. And obviously, once the connections happen, then automatically the next things that happen when there is a group of people together is people start doing things which are of common interest. So that's again what happens in ROE. People get together, small groups get formed organically, both online as well as in campus, and they start doing things together. They could be singing together, doing theater together. So we call them as clubs where people get together. And so there are many clubs and many groups, and people informally join, leave. All that is very, very organic and very much driven by that group. Once the groups are all doing different things, sometimes there is a need for a coaching, which is like how Shreya was also mentioning. Can I get an expert who can guide me further? So in a community, you also raise your hand, you say, hey, I need coaching with whatever. It could be anything. It could be, I need help with crochet, I need help with watercolors, I need help with uh, whatever, fixing my whatever machine or anything. Yeah. And if there is anybody within the community, then that person might help you or coach you. If there is nobody within the community, then the community will try and look for somebody within the known circles of friends, relatives, and not even just friends and relatives. The whole world, literally, the whole world is ours. So we will look out to see who can help, who can coach. So that's the third aspect. And also when a lot of group of people are together, then Then a lot of action also happens, a lot of get-togethers happens, a lot of let's just call it a lot of fun learning happens, because a lot of things happen. It could be anything. It could be singing, dancing, theater, music, debating, challenges, competitions, whatever the group wants to do. So if I summarize, in a community, there are connections, there are collaborations, there is coaching, and there is the community level participation. And all of this is underlined by both giving and getting. So if everybody is giving and everybody is also getting, uh, then that's what is a community. So yeah, that's exactly how Arohi functions, whether it is online or whether when we are physically together in a campus, or even if it's a mix of some people in campus and some people online. That's exactly, it's all give and take at various levels. Did that kind of little give you a brief idea about how I would say Arohi function, and to some extent most communities function? Could I don't know. I was just talking. Today my connection is not so good, so I'm wondering if you got that, Uma, because I didn't get a response. If that kind of answered, if you could hear.
Yes,
Okay,
yes, I
okay,
got
yeah,
it. I got it. I
okay,
got it.
yeah. Now I got your response. Yeah. Okay, so somebody who's logged in has read me. First, you will have to tell me your name. Your question is there lodging and boarding facility for students? I'll come to that. I'll answer that question, but first you have to tell me your name. Obviously, your name is not Red MI. You can rename yourself, or you can type it in chat, or you can tell me on mic. Well, I haven't got the response. Are you there? Okay, Dhiraj. Okay, hi, Dhiraj. Yeah. To answer this question, first of all, please realize that we are not a school. We are a learning community. So there are no students here. There are only people here. And when I say people, or I should rather say there are only families here. So yes, we live in a campus, and all of us live together. It's not a question of lodging or boarding, it's a question of living. So if you ask me, I would say rephrase your question to, is there living in the campus? So the answer is yes, we all live together. Children, adults, parents, even grandparents, anybody can be part of the campus at any point of time. And we all live together. We, in fact, have one building in which we all stay together. There is no separate place for anybody, whether it's a grandparent, whether it's a guest for one day, whether it's somebody living here for 5 years. Everybody lives together. We all live together, kind of cook together, eat together, clean toilets together, and so on. We do everything. We play together, and obviously we get a lot of space to do what we each feel like doing. So it's like one large, maybe the nearest analogy or comparison is like a large joint family, where all ages are there and different people are doing different things and yet taking care of each other. And obviously they are living together. So yes, I don't know if I've answered your question, but that's how we look at it and that's how we do it. To be more specific, if a child wants to stay here and the parents do not want to stay here, that's also fine. If a parent wants to stay here with the child not staying here, that's also fine. So it's not limited to only children or only a particular age. We say age group is 0 to 99. So I guess that kind of pretty much covers most of us. And also to underline, there is no specific duration. Somebody can be here for a year, somebody can be here for a month, somebody here can be here for a week, somebody can come alternate months, somebody can come for few years in a row, obviously in between going to their home. So the things are very open, very flexible. It really depends on the family, how they want to be part of Arohi, when they want to be part of Arohi. There is no really set thing. Uh, uh, and the whole idea is that each one who's coming here knows why they are coming here, and then they create their own learning within the group of the community. So each child or each adult will create his or her own structure. So nobody is giving the structure, but each one creates what is my plans, what is my schedule, what all I want to do, and then the community supports. So I wouldn't be telling any child, hey, you need to do this. Not at all. Each one will decide what each one of us will do. And then each one will see who needs what help or who wants to get together. And that's how groups will form, help will come in, and different people will do different things. That's a nice question. How do we monetarily contribute? So you realize that okay. So let me say there are two things. One is your participation, your family's participation is not dependent on monetary contribution, right? Which means you can literally come with 0 rupees in your pocket and be part of the community. Or you can come. So money is not related to your participation. On the other side, all of us realize that for the community to function, for the campus to function, there are expenses. So what all of us do is we actually contribute. And each one could be contributing a different amount or similar amounts. So there is a group of parents who form the finance team. They calculate, they say how much are the expenses, budgets, and they come up with a indicative figure. And then different people, based on their financial status and capability at that moment, contribute different amounts, right? So the indicative figures are, yes, given so that it helps people, because it's not like we just need to get money. But if by and large we are able to meet the indicated expenses, we are all good. So each family who is part of the community is also thinking about how can I contribute to the community financially, other than contributing in many other ways, so that the community is alive. But that is not a barrier for anybody to be part of the community. So somebody could be paying 0 rupees, somebody could be paying 10 rupees, somebody could be paying 10,000, somebody could even be paying 10 lakhs. I don't mind that, though we don't need that much. So yeah, that's how we function. So we also call it, so we have a name for it. We call it AKSD, which in Hindi means apni khushi se do. So it's not even that any questions are asked, why are you only giving this much? Why are you not giving that much? Because that's the spirit of community. That's the spirit of togetherness. Okay.
I just would like to add one point to that, Ratnesh.
Yes,
here.
Dviji, please.
So when we say apni khushi se do, it's also that it's that whole freedom and responsibility thing. So we recognize that at this point we cannot contribute. But it is also our responsibility as part of the community that we sustain the community. So it's not that because I can at this point afford, I may not be able to make a contribution, but that means that I'm taking on responsibility at point in time. I will make my contributions, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
it's that we understand situations, that situations might change, but it's also that we understand that people are taking responsibility.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's not that it's not that we have an infinite pool of resources that we can dip into.
Yeah, in fact, we have
It's
no
a
pool of
finite pool,
resources.
Exactly.
We have the
There
only
is a
pool.
some pool. I mean,
The pool is the parents, or rather all the families.
exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's the pool.
Exactly. That is the pool. That is the pool. So, and even that is finite. So,
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
just wanted to.
Thanks, Viji. Okay, so I think we've been talking for almost an hour and a half almost. So maybe we can take a pause now. And as you kind of think about some of these things, and if you need more details, more help or guidance in your family's journey on learning, open learning, whatever, uh, you are most welcome to get in touch with us, and we'll see how we can help you. Yeah. So thank you very much for joining.
Next, there will be another in the series, right?
You're right. Every
A plug for
Saturday.
the series, man.
Right. Yeah. So we do this webinar. Next Saturday would be another child. This Saturday was Shreya. Next Saturday would be another child talking about his or her journey. So we are hoping next few months we'll bring one or two children every session to talk about their journey. So yeah, please connect with us. Yes, next Saturday, same time, 5 o'clock, and we can hear more stories. Because finally, that's what is important, that we connect with different people and learn from them, different children and their stories. Yeah. So thank you very much. Thank you, Dwiji, for reminding that. And yep, bye-bye and have a great weekend.